Beautiful day and a great start of the week, and I am super excited to start the week with you right here on Cactv, and this is your morning dew and newspaper review. I am your host Modu Dominic. I'm sure you had a fantastic weekend as much as I did, but mine was quite very hectic, but with me are my wonderful co-hosts. And let me start with you, White. You are looking so calm today, so tell me, what's the gist behind it?
We have to be calm even in the midst of the storm and what is happening in Nigeria. Don't let the circumstances around you determine your happiness. You have to be happy for yourself. Good morning, Lagos. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, world. It's a beautiful Monday morning. Thank you for having us this morning.
Yes, it's so interesting that, you know, the men with me today are doing white. I don't know what plan they had to have come up with this. So, Engineer Ola, you are looking good today, honestly, as usual.
Thank you very much.
So how did your weekend go? You rested as usual?
No, but sleep and relax. Eat, sleep and relax.
You really need it, and it's telling all over. All right, thank you so much for joining us today on your newspaper review. So quickly, we'll go on a quick... It's still your Cactv, and this is Morning Dew. So we'll quickly be looking at the newspaper review, but first, let's take our quotes for the day. So, White.
Okay, good morning, brethren. Praise the Lord. It's another beautiful day. The quote we have for today is taken from the book of Psalms, chapter 27, verse 1, and it says, "The Lord is my light and salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold or the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid?" This is charging us to put our security and our trust in the Lord for any kind of situation that we find ourselves, that we should let the light and strength of the Lord to be our dependence. We depend on the strength of the Lord, that whatever circumstances, we should be rest assured that as long as we belong to the Lord God Almighty, we have security. We have nothing to fear. And we should also banish fear from our hearts. You know, if there is fear that stops us from getting quite a number of things that we need to get. Fear that stops you from attaining that position, from going forward to achieve what you want to achieve. Fear is a killer of destiny. Fear is a killer of miracles. So we need to have a total 100% confidence in the Lord, because He is the Almighty and He will never let us down. Praise the Lord.
Yeah, thank you so much for shedding more light on that quote that we have for the day. And honestly, this thing called fear can really drain you and deprive you of your peace, and also of the things that you need to do to succeed. I know there was one time in my life where, you know, I was at a place, but because of the fear that I have, I didn't see myself doing better than the rest, of which I was better than them, because I happened to be the lead vocal when I got there. But because I was tense and I was afraid of the unknown, you know, the fear of the unknown. So we have to be deliberate about it until you get a hold of yourself and, you know, trust in the Lord and cast your cares on Him. You may not be able to attain and do the things that you are supposed to do as one who is leading. And
fear has a way of limiting you,
making you feel less of yourself.
Like you can't never, even when you imagine when we were in school and we were preparing for exams, at the call of the name of that exam, you are already shivering that, oh, will I be able to?
Meanwhile, you've read.
And you've read all the syllabus. In fact,
studied.
They might even give you places, points to read, and you know you are, but
you're prepared.
You know, even giving you the script, your heart will just cut and break, like that. That's the work of fear. So don't be afraid.
Honestly, thank you so much. Okay, quickly would look at the stories that we have from the Punch newspaper. So we'll start with our first story for the day, and this says Cameroon dam opening, evacuate to prevent death. FG state warn flood-prone communities. The release of huge volumes of water from the Lagdo Dam in Cameroon has made states along the path of River Benue in Nigeria brace up for possible flood, disaster. Okay, yes, for possible flood disaster in their various domains. To prevent death and other disasters associated with flood, states that are likely to be affected has asked residents of the flood-prone area to vacate such communities. According to the National Emergency Management Agency officials, no fewer than 11 states, including Adamawa, Taraba, Benue, Nasarawa, Kogi, Anambra, Edo, Delta, Bayelsa, River and Cross River are likely to feel the negative impact of the opening of the dam. The state on Sunday advised such residents to leave the area to avoid impact on human lives and valuable assets. So that's the first story that we have on the Punch newspaper. And looking at what happened sometime last year, I think that, some parts of the states were flooded, like we had in Edo State, and I had few of my friends were also affected. They had to leave their home because of the flood. So, and I hope that it doesn't get to that point where they would have worse situation than what they experienced the last time. And I don't think that something was done after the last incident that they have. So having this warning come forward, I really hope that, not just because basically they may not even have enough to start looking for place at the moment. I hope that government will also, look into this and see what they can do. So let me start with you, Engineer Ola.
Well, it's a very good thing what the Cameroon government has done by alerting Nigerian government that we want to open our dam, and then we know the annual consequential effect of the dam on Nigerian farms, citizens, their houses, and then many things. So it's a very good thing that we are now getting the warning from them that they will very soon they will open the dam. But Nigerian government, instead of Nigerian government to be proactive, they are always reactive, which, if you look at it holistically, is not a good step at all. What happened to the dam Nigeria was building in Adamawa State since 1980? And the effect of the dam is to cushion the effect of this dam, this water coming from Cameroon. But the government is not doing that. Maybe in about July, one of the senators said, what are we going to do on that particular dam? So if you can be able to take a very bold step and build our own dam, we will not be having this problem annually.
They started the discussion of this damn thing over, sometime late last year when this incident occurred, when we had crisis, we had people going through all of that, and they sent aids to countries and to the states, and they said they were going to do something about it. At any point did we experience that? Because after the flood went down, we noticed that everything went back. Nobody was talking about it again. So are we likely to still experience such? And what do you think, or what's your advice to our government at this point?
What I'm saying is that there's this dam in Adamawa State called Dasin Awusa Dam. This dam was supposed to be constructed in 1980. So, and the effect of that dam is the cushion the effect of water coming from Cameroon. Okay. So that you not destroy farms, houses in Nigeria. But nothing has been done so far. Now I'm talking of 1980. This is 2023.
Imagine the time gap.
No, it will have cushioned the effect of this water, this flood coming to Nigeria.
Yeah.
But it has not been done. It's only July this year that one of the senators now raising the issue that government should construct this dam. Because the Cameroon now will be telling us this is what is going to happen. We have to prepare. Lagos State is saying, oh, we are prepared. We are ready for that. We are now preparing to relocate people to higher level if there is any flood. It doesn't have to be so. Why Do we have to spend money when there's emergency? No. We have to prepare before the occurrence of such a thing. Now today, body is now running and they'll be now demanding money from the government that to be able to safeguard Nigerians from this flood. This amount of money is needed to do this, to do that, and that is going to be an extra amount of money on the budget. It shouldn't be so. We need to prepare ourselves, not until when the war has come to your door mouth.
Then we start running out of
I want to fight. No, you should have prepared before the war comes to your door mouth. That is what I'm saying in essence. That this government, instead of them to be proactive, they are always reactive. We only want to use a fire brigade approach to attend to any situation that has occurred. It doesn't have to be so. We need to prepare our home.
Beforehand.
Now the government of Cameroon is telling us we want to open our dam because of blah 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 story. Please get yourself prepared. Do they have to tell us every year?
The question is, how much time do we have to put this together before the dam is being opened? So your take, please.
Yes, very good one. To support Engineer Ola's very wonderful, brilliant contribution this morning. And by the way, Engineer Ola, good morning, sir.
Good morning. You are looking kinky this morning.
Daddy, I'm
following your
footsteps.
Thank God.
I'm following your footsteps. You know, your Bible say, Ola, you know, we thank God. Okay, so to support Engineer Ola this morning, I think we also need to talk to ourselves. As much as we are trying to sensitize our government, try to tell them, okay, this is what you have to do for us, this is what you have to do for the community, for the country. We also need to talk to ourselves as citizens. I am of the opinion, I think people would have been one way or the other told that if you want to reside in this place is prone to flood, to this and that and that and that. But some people will still go ahead to erect their abode there, to erect their structures there, their houses there, to pitch their tents, and at the same time, and at the end of the day, when dam comes, the effect will be their lot. So we also need to talk to ourselves as citizens.
Do not forget that in this part of the world where we are in, things like that, they are not everybody is enlightened to the point of knowing where and where not to do some certain things. So that's why we have a department that is supposed to put them through, check places like this. But the question is, are they doing that?
Okay, from the government. Yes, government has its own fault in that area. I'm not disputing that fact. I'm only adding to it that we also help the government to help us. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Because when this dam is open, my area, we know the effect. There are places, apart from my area, there are other places where when the flood comes, you won't be able to, roads that you pass through normally, you won't be able to, because even pedestrians will not be able to.
That's what nature does.
When the dam is open in my area there, you know, people will have to use boats where they are supposed to use their vehicles. They will have to use boat, canoe. Or they construct an emergency bridge for pedestrians. Okay? Some people, the flood will enter into their houses, dragging them out by fire, by force. So, you know, these things and it happens almost, I think, every 2 or 3 years. Wow. I don't know, Engineer, am I right?
It's yearly.
Is it yearly? Okay, well, so if it happens yearly, or if it's 2 years or 3 years,
so it means something that we are aware of.
So what's the essence? Government has his own own responsibility.
Like I said, some of these people do not have what it takes to live in a better area. If they do, I'm sure they won't live there. I'm sure they won't pitch their tent there. But the question is, how do they go about this when things like this happen?
But you see, one thing is this dam will affect about 11 states.
Exactly.
So when you are saying you want to relocate people, how many people do you want to relocate?
And at a time like this,
one thing, and that thing is that the dam is used to generate electricity.
Yes.
You understand? But when the dam is overflowed, because if they build a barrier, That is to stop the flowing of the river.
Yes.
And at the same time, they want to raise the level of the river.
Okay.
You understand?
Yes.
The river has served as a, also they use the river as a reservoir.
So it serves both purposes.
It serves about two functions. And at the same time, when they want to open the dam, that is maybe you have too much water, they want to open the dam. They will tell you, oh, we want to open the dam. But the agreement was made in 1980 that if you construct this dam, you should also construct another dam in Nigeria, in Adamawa State, to cushion this effect so that you don't have flood effect in Nigeria. But the government has not done that. So we can't blame the Cameroonian for constructing the dam. And at the same time again, they are not telling us,
giving us warning beforehand,
that, okay, we want to open the dam. So it's for us to say, oh, okay,
we've done this, we've done that.
In July, one of the senators said, we must open this dam in Adamawa State.
Yes.
Even when Atiku was campaigning, he said that, okay, that the dam in Adamawa State, I will build it if I'm elected as Nigerian president. So the government should now take a leaf from that, from saying, and oh,
truly we need to do something about it.
Truly on this dam, so that this annual effect from Cameroonian will not be affecting us. Okay. If there's any dispute between Nigeria and Cameroon, they will open their dam.
Of course, without having to give us warning.
And many things will be damaged.
Enough of talking, enough of just doing the talking, putting it in paper. Please, let's get to work. Our government should please get to work at this time, so we don't have people, being stranded on the road, casualties and here and there, because we know what that can do to health and to human as a whole. Yeah. So we'll look at the next story, and this says servicing debt with 90% revenue path to destruction, says Tinubu. President Bola Tinubu has said this country could not continue to service its debt with 90% of its revenue. He noted that the country was headed for destruction should that continue. Tinubu spoke during the annual conference of the Nigerian Bar Association on Sunday in Abuja. He said this administration must make difficult changes to better the lot of the country. Tinubu said, in quote, "Can we continue to service external debt with 90% of our services?" Okay, and then he continued with the story saying that it is not sustainable. We must make it very difficult. We must make the very difficult changes that are necessary for our country to get up from slumber and be respected among the great nations of the world. To build a great nation, we must make bold decisions, even though it may be painful at the moment. It is not about you, it is not about me. It is about our generation yet unborn. Tinubu, who said there is hope for great Nigeria, called for a cooperation and support of the private sector. So that's the second story that we have. Our president is actually making great speech. And I really hope that amongst all of this speech, like I said, it's time to get to work. So if he is coming out and he's saying this is what we need to do, we can't keep servicing revenues like this. We have to do something about it. And it is not just about me. I so love that statement. It's not about me. It is not about you. It is about the generation unborn. So if all of these things we're doing, it is basically not about us. How do we avoid things like this? Going back and forth over situations like this, just like the dam situation we just spoke about. It is not something that has been said today, like Engineer Ola said. This thing has been spoken about in 90s, and then we still have it occur in the 20s. It's alarming, and it's so sad that we have to go through all of these things. So what's your take on this servicing of revenue, Engineer Ola?
Now, you see, it's like creating reality with your reality. Okay. No, I do not understand. He has made a very great statement.
Of course.
How would you service your debt with 90% revenue? When this many years back, the last president of Ghana, Kufo, the same thing he said, that I use 90% of the budget to pay staff salaries. Okay. Only 10% to develop the country. So this is what Tinubu is telling us, that I have only 10% from Nigerian revenue to develop the country. How can he do it? And then if you now want to overhaul what is happening in Nigeria, you know everything is based on corruption. What are we going to do about corruption? Government has been saying we are driving all our strength to fight corruption. Are they really fighting corruption? There are lots of corruption in this country. That is where the money is not available. Again, we have to go back to this the Western foreigners in the country, the Americans, the Europeans in this country. We keep on owing them. We go back to and say we want to borrow money from you. How can we come out from this economic slavery? How can we? I don't see how Africa will survive with this type of policy, that each time you are broke, you go to Europe, you go to America, you borrow money to solve the immediate problem. Every time you are owing money, you got to survive. So this is the Herculean task this government is facing. I do not see how it's going to do it. 90% revenue is to service debt. Only 10% to move the country forward economically. How are you going to do it? So this is what Nigerians should sit down together, form a conference of economists, historians, commerce people, bankers. How do we move Nigeria forward if we spend 90% of our revenue on servicing of debt?
Why are you breathing? Why are you breathing like this? I sense that. See, it's as if you are holding a political public office that we don't know. In general, it's like this. It's like Modot.
No, she's confused.
Modot is eating national cake, and we are now aware.
when the elder has spoken,
yes,
and he has given you point upon point,
yes,
and then you're now like, okay, where do I pick this from? Where do I pick this from?
Yes, I appreciate Engineer this morning. In fact, maybe Engineer should be wearing these clothes every day, so that we'll be having this kind of vibe. Like seriously, Engineer. But having said that, I'm going to shock you, sir. I will not support the second to the last statement that every one of us should say that. No, it's not all of us that is eating the national cake. The government, we voted them in so that they can find solution to any problem.
Yeah.
See, you are a problem solver. That's why we voted for you.
And that's why we have ministries. That's why we have them in different departments.
It's like I'm beginning to boil now. We put our trust in the government so that they can provide solution for us. If they are not capable, we will not put them there.
Obviously.
Hello.
Continue.
No, like, seriously. If we are using 90% of our revenue to service debt, and you are telling us that 10% is the one remaining, see, sometimes Edinala said it last week. That it's not everything that the politicians say that you
put
believe.
Your mouth into.
Yes, so because these people are proving to us time and time again that they cannot. Well, I comment my reserve. Do you understand? So now the thing is this: you are telling us in paper now that you are using 90% of the country's revenue to service debts. Debts that, let me just leave that debt alone. What about what we are using our money in this country? What we are using it to? What about the government officials? What about our leaders that we are using our money to service?
The question now is the 10%. How well are they even using it to build the country?
That's another question, my dear sister. That's another question. See, let us call a spade a spade. For crying out loud, I'm a Christian and I'm going to speak the truth and nothing but the truth.
So help you God.
So help me God. Thank you very much. Now the truth is that most of our, and that's the agitation of many Nigerians now, the lifestyle of our government officials is just way too exorbitant. Is way too expensive. They need to cut that. You are
honestly, they've
gone
for a retreat. Our ministers,
Yes.
they've gone for a retreat.
Oh,
as we
they
speak.
go for a retreat. I didn't know. I was not aware.
So it's part of
the
what we're
retreat should
talking about.
reflect. The retreat should reflect. I don't know the kind of retreat, but the retreat should reflect. See, let us cut down on the. You are going. One government official is going. 6 vehicles is accompanying the. I mean, now fuel is how much now? 680, 620, 580. In some places
630 actually I bought yesterday. 630.
Oh, you are a rich woman. You are well engineer. We need to tax this woman now. She is wealthy. She has money. You see, we need to. Those 6 vehicles will be filled with fuel, and you are going to buy thousands of naira vehicles alone. Not to talk of your wardrobe allowance, not to talk of your staffs, not to talk of your subordinates, your PAs, not to talk of the security you are having, not to talk of. See, the list is enormous. Before we look at the general money that we are making, let us look at what we are even spending inward, internally.
Yeah.
We are spending so much.
God help us.
God help us.
You know, and in his last word, he said he's calling on the private sector to also, you know, join and make sure that this come to reality, as is looking forward to do something about the revenue. So we believe and we look forward to, you know, something being done to this part of the revenue that we're talking about. Now, looking at the next story, and this says Nigeria can generate $3 billion from solid minerals annually. Senate. The Senate, through its Committee on Finance, is said that Nigeria could generate about $3 billion from solid minerals. The chairman of the Finance Committee, Senator Sani Musa, in a statement on Sunday said the informal sector, particularly the mining industry, is a hidden gem in the nation's revenue potential. He also stated that the Senate Finance Committee will seriously look at the informal sector, which constitute about 80% of the Nigerian economy. The committee will look into empowering the informal sector with the spotlight of mining. He said this was cooperated by the Ministry of Mines and Steel Development, that is the solid minerals have the capacity to generate about 2 to 3 billion US dollars annually. So, and that's the third story that we have. Apparently, that's the last story that we have on the Punch newspaper. So, Engineer Ola, what's your view?
Well, you see, the Senate Committee is telling us that we have solid minerals in Nigeria, and then we can generate over $3 billion, maybe monthly or annually from the solid minerals. Well, I wouldn't want to say this is hypothetical. This is what they used to say. And then when the solid minerals money is available in Nigeria,
we don't hear about it again.
We don't know anything about it again. So this is what is said about the crude oil in Nigeria, that this is what Nigeria will be generating. But we cannot see until when they begin work on it, and it has become a reality. But now, you know, they are politicians. They have loud mouths. They will blow their mouth and say, if Nigeria do this, this is what will come up. And when such amount of money is coming up, nobody hears anything about that again. Though truly we have solid minerals in Nigeria, we have lots in Nigeria. And the big question is that, what is the government doing on these Nigerian solid minerals? Okay, look at Nigeria today. How many tertiary institutions we have in this country that has to do with solid minerals?
Exactly.
Maybe only one. National Institute of Solid Minerals in Jos. That's all. Do we have a university in Nigeria today where there's a course on solid minerals in this country? How do you mine these solid minerals? No, there are many pages uncovered. Many things are to be done before you can say Nigeria can earn money from solid minerals. What are the preparations to be able to earn money from solid minerals? Along the middle belt in Nigeria, you have lots of solid minerals. In Port Harcourt, we have solid minerals like diamond in large quantity, commercial quantity. What is the government doing about all this? Every focus is on oil production
and this is what can also, bring in investments to the country.
Yes, until when a Westerner like America or France will come to Nigeria,
spot it,
and they tell you that
we can do this for you.
This, but this is going to be our sharing formula. We will take 80%, Nigeria will take 20%.
Because they came up with the idea.
When oil was discovered in Ghana, Ghana is taking 5%. The foreign company is taking 95%
of what belongs
for 25
to them.
years. Yes, this is Africa.
Okay.
This is Africa. So over some time they will now say, "Oh, we will go to war. We don't want France again in this country."
After they've opened your eyes to what you have in your country.
Who invited the France to come into their country? You invited them. You agree with the sharing formula. Now you are saying no, we don't want to do that. Where do you do that in the world? I don't think it is possible. So we have to go back on the round table again. Like I've said, sit down and decide this solid minerals. How are we going to mine it? Are we going to enslave ourselves again with these solid minerals so that American will come and take 90%, where Nigerian government will take 10%? And this 10% will be divided into two: 5% for Nigerian government and 5% for the politicians.
So I think this roundtable will have to start from us, and then we'll also talk to our viewers, whoever is ready to join us. Let's start this roundtable and see what we can do, and see how we can also, brainstorm and make something happen.
Yes,
so that we can have the share of the national cake.
We'll now call it roundtable party.
Now roundtable party.
Roundtable party of Nigeria. Hello.
All right.
See, just like what Endinala said, see, we need to do something about. It's not about. See, talk is cheap.
Yes.
Action is the cocoa. What are we doing to
cushion this effect?
Yes, to harness these solid minerals into finished products, into marketable products. It is not about, I can build a house. Yoruba will say, Enula afenuro for. When you use your mouth to build a mansion, the mansion will be so beautiful, but in imagination. It is not in reality. If they give the person the opportunity now, go and build the house,
it becomes story.
It becomes an equivalent tax. Now, we can generate. Fine, we all know. Who does not know that Nigeria is blessed with solid minerals? We all know. Africa is blessed all round. Africa is blessed. Our daddy in the house mentioned Niger Republic. See, Niger Republic has, according to research, I don't know how far true is this, but it's been said that 4 bulbs, for every 4 bulbs in France, 3 out of them is powered by uranium from Adakesh. Is it Adakesh now in Niger? 3 out of every 4 bulbs in France is powered by Niger Republic uranium. And as a matter of fact, Niger is in utter darkness. Their uranium is not powering them.
Something they supply to another country.
What they supply to other country, I think and they are in utter darkness. Darkness for decades. And this has been happening for decades. Now Nigeria, they supply them electricity now. So you can imagine, it's just like you have, I don't know how to put this. You have generator. Maybe I pass my neighbor or something, and you are putting fuel inside the generator. But when you on it, the circuit is going to another man's flat, and you are putting fuel. Whereas you only have 1 bulb inside your room, 1 bulb. But the other person in the other flat
has everything.
Is using his TV, using his fan, using
washing machine,
charging his phone, charging his laptop on your generator. I mean, who does that? Now, we have solid minerals. Yes. But how do we now harness it? How are we equipping? What is our educational system doing to give to everybody is going outside now to go and learn, to go and upgrade their academic prowess? Why? And then when we have those graduates, why are we not inculcating them into the system, equipping them, not making them japa, because everybody is japaing now.
To where they can be, you know,
to
be of
where
use.
they can have a greener pasture, be of use, and get what everybody just want to go. If somebody said something funny enough, like a joke, that if you open the border now, say ticket is free,
everybody,
flight, this thing is free. Everybody, if you want, everywhere you want to go, just start going. I know. I'm very sure that Engineer Ola will not be on the seat right now. It will be either in Canada or Engineer Ola. Where do you want to go, sir?
England.
I'll go back to Oshobo.
You understand?
I'll go to Oshobo.
I think the government, the Senate, yes, they are there to represent us. But they should also, don't let us take the problem from the top. Let's look at, Yoruba says, when a log of tree fall on each other, we should take one out. You don't go to the source of the log. No. You take it from the top.
Bit by bit.
Things, let's have a priority. Let's have a scale of preference for things.
All right. Thank you so much for staying tuned. We'll go on a quick break and we'll be right back shortly. Please do well to stay tuned. This is your Cactv. Check us on our YouTube channel. Drop your comments. Feel free to drop your comments and suggestions. We'll be right here to read and hear from you and give you response ASAP. Okay, we'll be right back shortly. Stay tuned.
Thank you. Moplex, thank you very much. I appreciate my goodness. Thank you, Moplex TV. Oh my God. What do we have here? Oh wow. Oh, really?
Yes, for the wine.
All of this?
Yes.
And this?
Yes.
Oh my God. Thank you. Everything. Thank you so much. So what's gonna happen?
Yes.
Thank you, Moplex. Thank you very much. I appreciate my goodness. Thank you. And keep on watching. Wow, this is so cute. Thank you. We offer our subscribers daily subscription options for as low as 120 Naira on Jara and 250 Naira on Federal.
Moplex.
Thank you, Moplex. Thank you very much. I appreciate my goodness. Thank you, Moplex TV. Oh my God. What do we have here? Oh wow. Oh, really?
Yes, for the wine.
All of this?
Yes.
And this?
Yes.
Oh my God. Thank you. Everything.
the best news that you need to hear and all that you need to know in the world of information, sport, education, and all of that. Okay, so we're still on Morning Dew, and this is the newspaper review, and we want to look at the story that we have on Vanguard. So we'll look at the first story that we have, and this says government efforts failing as food importation rises to 122% deficit, eats 4.9 trillion naira. Despite continuous government effort to shore up food production in Nigeria through various interventions and programs, the country recorded food trade deficits worth 4.92 trillion naira between 2018 and 2022. Available data shows that Nigeria is not growing enough food for populates. Okay, that's for the populace, leaving the country with no option but to import. Consequently, to feed its steadily rising population, the country recorded a 121.7% increase in the value of importation of imported food within the 5 years period, rising to 1.9 trillion naira in 2022 from 857 billion naira in 2018. You know, this is okay.
Yes, can I interpret that?
Okay, so
yes, you know, like Engineer Love said, buy Nigeria,
be Nigeria.
I think I was waiting for, I was honestly waiting that it don't always start like that.
You're on track. You know, when there's no agriculture, there's no food.
Yes, sir.
Most of the foods important to this country are from agriculture. And when you cannot farm, what do you expect? And this boils down again to insecurity. The bandits who attack our farms, who either kidnap the farmers or kill the farmers, will now seize our herds, that is cow. What do you expect? People can no longer go to farm. They can farm
without the fear of being killed.
The premier of Western region.
Yes.
You made Western region from what? From agriculture. People came from Malaysia to study how to produce palm oil.
Yes.
Palm oil plantation.
Yes.
What has happened to all that? Now the government is now making effort that in every state we have University of Agriculture. Of course. What is the result? Yet now there's no result. The major, that is the common food in Nigeria today, is rice. Do we plant rice in Nigeria? Let's say yes, but into what quantity? Rice is not available in Nigeria.
Yeah.
We still import rice. We normally import beans from, let's say we bring in beans from the north. But now I don't know what is happening to beans. We normally bring vegetable oil from the north. Now what is happening to vegetable oil? So you may be informed that pineapple is coming now from Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire to Nigeria. What's happening to our farming? So government now has to put more effort on Nigerian farming. More subsidy, more money to our farmers. Encourage them to farm. And also you have to give us backing by fighting insecurity. Now, when Shagari was Nigerian president, he started Operation Feed the Nation.
Yes.
When Obasanjo got to power, Obasanjo started Operation Feed the Nation. But some people will say it is Obasanjo Farm Nigeria Limited.
Yes.
But what has happened to such things now in this country? Farmers are not encouraged to farm.
Yes.
We have so many students who have studied agriculture. You find them working in the bank. So you are now saying there's no food in Nigeria. We are wasting our foreign money on importation of food. Before Obasanjo came to government, Nigeria was importing water. Most of the embassies in Nigeria were importing water until they said no more importation of water, no more importation of eggs. But you could see that nowadays in Nigeria, even most of the birds we are eating that we call chicken, these are birds from China. They are important to the country. So why won't you say that we are spending so much money on food when we are not producing food? It's a shame that this country is not producing food enough to feed.
Not just food, there's a whole lot.
In Africa, Egypt can produce enough rice. Thailand can produce enough rice. Turkey can produce enough rice. What happens to Nigeria? I don't know.
I think there's
And we have the soil.
We have the soil. Anything can grow in Nigeria.
Yes.
We have the soil.
as little as our backyard. If I wash tomato and I pour out the water, in 2-3 days I would see the leaves sprouting up.
Do you know that I'm a farmer?
Okay, so
I grow in my house.
So you are also to be blamed for not joining the effort to farm.
I grow things in my house. I have cultivated a farm because although I live in a rented apartment, so we have a large chunk of space. So my landlord was like,
if you can do anything,
let's do something now instead of there are some herbs growing in my house. I have lemongrass, I have pawpaw, I have bitter leaf, I have what do you call it, the water leaf. I have all those things. So do you know, if I want to cook soup now in my house, I don't necessarily have to go to the market to buy some things, because I have them growing there. I have ugu, the one you call spinach.
Yeah,
I have it in my house. So I am going to spend less of owobe.
Exactly.
For my wife. Yes, that is it. You see, what are we if food is killed? Then what
it's
else?
more like taking the lives of people.
So we are spending more on importation. See, I was also in the what do we call it now? The clearing and forwarding sector one time back, and it is alarming the level of importation that Nigerians engage in. Do you know that a container would come in my company? I don't want to mention the name of the company for media sake. Now, a container will land, and you will be seeing things like face cap, shirts, furnitures, toothpick. I have seen it. It's not exaggeration. I'm saying
matches. The matches that we use is being imported.
So it shall not matches
from Indonesia.
So if as little as that we can't produce by ourselves, then there is a problem.
And then we are importing everything.
We encourage importation now and then.
How do we be Nigeria? How do we buy Nigeria? How do we make money?
It's a call for attention. It really calls for a lot of attention. These are things that we need to pay attention to. These are things that our presidents really need to look into. We can't keep saying we want to grow and then we are not looking forward to doing a lot of things by ourselves. It can't work. It can't work. We can't keep doing this and we keep spending. You know, just look at the amount difference, the difference in amount between 2018 to 2022. It's so alarming.
Well, I think the government has done a lot on insecurity. You know, once our farmers can go back to farm, like the other time we went to Kg and wanted to buy yam. The yam seller was telling us that they can't go to farm because of this insecurity, because of this Fulani people that they can't go to farm. So if the government can really work on this Boko Haram sectors and all the infidels, then I think now agricultural will boom again.
Yes.
Please restore back our strength and our boldness, because when insecurity is being tackled, then we know that people would be bold enough to go back to the farm, go back and live their daily life. Because even going out, as little as, let me not say that's little because it's not, you can't boldly go on the road or travel a journey without having to think about being kidnapped or being attacked by all of this. No, so please let our government please do something about it. So we'll look at the next story that we have, and would look at Nigeria loses $4 million daily to oil theft, says NSA. A high-powered team dispatched by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to assess crude oil theft in the Niger Delta has uncovered illegal connections where Nigeria loses the product worth millions of dollars monthly in Abia State. The sites in Owaza had many illegal connections to a major crude pipeline. A video of the finding made available to the nation yesterday showed the team also carried out an aerial assessment of 9 other Niger Delta oil production. Okay, so basically this is the story that we also have in the Nation newspaper. So the Nigeria loses 4 million daily to oil thefts. How do we explain this?
Well, if you lose 4 million daily, how much are you losing in a month? Let's say about 130 or 120 million dollars every month. And how much do you lose in a year? So if you calculate it, you realize that, and this is just one
what we can
illegal
see.
oil well, one illegal bunkering area. What about others? So we can say that Nigerian government is losing lots of money from this oil theft. Then what are we going to do? Well, I thank our president for the step he's taking now, that is has set up a committee to go and check all these areas and what is to be done.
Yeah.
I believe the committee will submit their report to the federal government, and then active measures should be taken to stop this oil theft. Because Nigeria is losing lots of money. Aside from losing money, what about that area? The people cannot farm again on that area. They can't go to farm. They cannot also do sea farming. That is sea farming. All the fishes are dead.
Yes.
That place is becoming unhabitable. So government has to do a lot on that. It's a very, let me say, it's a kudos to our president for the step he's taking now, because that is the only resources Nigeria has now that we really rely on. And if you can take a measure on that and be able to stop all these people that are doing illegal bunkering, put them to book, I think the country will move forward and will be able to earn more money. Because the amount here is on the high side. 4 times 3,
just from one, just from one
dollars in a month, multiplied by 1 year, 12 months. So that we're talking about billions of dollars that is going to the pocket of these economic saboteurs. So the government is taking a very good step on that.
How much dollar is saying now? Dollar is I think it's already 1,000 naira.
And another thing is that I think apart from the petroleum institute we have in Port Harcourt, we should have more in this country, so that it's going to be it's not going to be monopoly from a particular state. If you have a petroleum university, maybe about in all the regions of the country, we have more people that can work on petroleum. The same thing with mining. If we don't have a single university of mining in Nigeria, except instead of Nigerian mining and blah blah blah. If you have if you have a mining institute in Nigeria that are bound, people should be able to work on mines and be able to earn more money for the government of Nigeria. But if you don't develop ourselves, who is coming to develop us? If you expect a white man to come and develop your mineral resources, it will exploit you.
Yes. Of course.
If you expect a white man to come here and explore your ground and discover oil, it will exploit you.
Yes.
So education is the key.
Yes.
Education is the key. There's no gainsay about that. Education is the key. So Nigeria has to revisit their educational system and work at a working policy, a moderate policy that will serve this country economically. Because enough of people, we have a university in Ibadan, University of Administration, University of Management, enough of that. So we really have to work on our resources.
Okay. All right. So let me just read through the last story that we have. And this one says, Lagos celebrates children with disabilities. Lagos State's Office of Disabilities Affairs has celebrated over 200 physical challenged children to mark the day and make it a special one for them. All thanks to Babajide Sanwo-Olu for making this a reality. This is something that he does. They bring them together every year to make sure that they are being celebrated and make them know that they have purpose here on earth, that their coming was not a mistake and will never be a mistake. So all thanks to Babajide Sanwo-Olu, for our dear governor, for making this possible for the disabilities children. Yeah. So quickly we'll look at the world of sport and see what we have there. So White, could you help us? Okay, quickly in 10 seconds we're going to look at sports. Tottenham Hales Udogu allays injury fears. Tottenham also coach said fullback Destiny Udogie is proving to be a perfect fit in his role with the club, as they recorded their second win of the season over Bournemouth on Saturday. And the next story we have is Nunes leads 10-man Liverpool to comeback win at Newcastle. Just yesterday, Liverpool against Newcastle yesterday, the match was very intense. One of the Liverpool player was shown the red card, okay, but with 10 man down, they came up and they had victory. So up Liverpool, you will never walk alone. Because I don't know what your connection is with Liverpool and Arsenal, but okay, whatever it is, you are always so excited when you are reading their news. You are always, talking about them so well. What happens to Chelsea? What happens to... Every man is a sport lover. Okay, you can't take it away. Wait, what happens to Barca? I've not heard Barca in a long time. Barcelona, Barcelona is a that happens to be my that's a club. My club one time. Okay. When I used to, when I used to play football. All right, thank you so much for joining us on today's newspaper review. It's always an exciting time to right here in the studio, and always a pleasure to be here and making sure that you are informed and well notified about what is going on in our country as at today. So thank you so much for staying tuned. To this point, I would say your last word for your people. Yes, my last word, everybody, please do not be afraid. Do not let fear dominate or limit you from achieving whatever you want to achieve. Be yourself. Engineer. Well, as normal and as usual, be Nigeria, by Nigeria. So, to this point, I say be Nigeria, by Nigeria, and love yourself as much as you would love others and as much as you would love to be loved. Thank you, and thanks for staying tuned. Till we come your way, same time, same station tomorrow. Stay tuned, and bye for now. Hello. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So what do we have here? Oh, look at this, look at this, look at this. Digital satellite TV box. Oh, nice. Nice. I got my Morplex decoder. Thank you very, very much. And all of these. Thank you guys for bringing this for me. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Morplex TV is the new dawn of pay TV services, redefining African entertainment for every home, with a variety of packages that are pocket-friendly, flexible, and provide maximum entertainment for everyone. Watch out for this. You do not want to miss this. Hop on this train right now. Morplex.